of my earliest memories of the Jaguar are having our friends over. I remember, because at the time all we had really was NES, SNES. We were still playing the 2600 before we got the Jaguar, maybe an Atari 800. But yeah, they were pretty blown away by the graphics of it.
My first memory with the Atari Jaguar was actually purchasing it with Aaron.
I was really young when my older brother Aaron bought that console.
And so we got the Atari Jaguar and everyone, it was cool. It had cool commercials going on and, you know, do the math, 64-bit, and we didn't realize how demeaning they were. We were Atari fixated, Atari freaks. We loved it.
My memories of the Jaguar, my first memories were my siblings playing.
I had Cybermorph, and I swear that's the only game we had for over a year.
I remember playing Cybermorph, and it was quite the thing. So
it felt really sluggish, but I think that was deliberate. They want you to get used to the way your ship functions. And
I don't know, back then it was all about 3D graphics, and that was the pack-in game, man. It had some awesome graphics. So.
And I don't know if it's because no other games had come out or if we just couldn't afford them. I can't remember, or Game Peddler wasn't carrying the games or something. We played that thing so much, and our friends, our other friends, they thought it was really cool at first, and then they eventually got, well, we're gonna play other games.
I beat that game twice.
My favorite game is, I don't know.
I remember the games that we ended up buying. I mean, we bought a lot of games, but there was Ultra Vortex. Power Drive Rally was a really fun one.
My favorite game changes a lot, actually, surprisingly, as I go through and replay some games and play new games, new homebrew games. My favorite game right now is Downfall by Reboot.
Alien vs. Predator, Cybermorph. Never played Cybermorph again after we got all the other games.
I want to go with the cliche, Tempest 2000, obviously.
I love the music. I held on to the soundtrack to Tempest 2000 for years afterward.
But I guess if I had to have a secondary, it'd be Alien vs. Predator.
I enjoyed playing the Predator the most because he had the different, when he goes into invisible mode, he had the different views, and half of them are totally useless and incredibly difficult to see anything, but I thought that was a cool little interesting part of the game that you don't see in other games. And
I just finished playing through the whole thing, and it's a pretty good game. I'd never beaten it before when I was younger, and it's pretty awesome, actually, just how well it was designed.
Brutal Sports Football was my favorite, and we played it enough that our parents paid attention. My mom thought it was too violent.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one too. And it was brutal, man.
And so she took it, and we had a little safe in the house, They kept all the documents, and she kept it in there, and it stayed in there until I was like 28.
I think we had a little too much fun. I think Mom ended up taking that away from us eventually because we enjoyed lopping each other's heads off too much.
The want to do this didn't come until recently.
I've been into programming for most of my life.
After I graduated from high school, I pulled the Jaguar out of our storage. I kind of took it under my wing and started collecting games for it.
Kind of the thing that got me into it was just being intrigued by these games that we had on our systems, whether it was the Atari ST or the 2600 or the Atari Jaguar. I always thought it was just really cool, and I wanted to do something like that.
I started to realize that there were other people still developing games for the Jaguar, and I wanted to be a part of that.
Obviously back then, as a little kid, you don't have the funds or resources to do those sorts of things, but it's neat to see how the community has made it capable for us to do that. It's kind of helping me fulfill a childhood dream.
And just in the last few years, we've seen a lot of homebrew from Reboot, Orion, and some other developers, and what they've done is really inspiring. I'd hope to see those groups doing more stuff and new developers coming into the picture like us.
I'm pretty excited to do this, and hope we can do some good stuff with it.
Bryce and I are working to become developers to make games for the Jaguar, and it's a family thing, and I like that.